Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome God and...
Wow, look how professional this all feels now. It's not like we messed up at all, not one little bit. Welcome to Gods and Monsters. My name is Art. Over there on your right is Greg Moan. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Art Miles.
We are still holding for Todd, but that's all right. We got plenty of things we could talk about. Eventually, maybe he'll get the link to this. I sent it in our Facebook direct message system that we were on, so they can go right on their phone again if they are available. We wanted to ask Todd about his first week at 25% capacity, which started on Monday, and it's, for me, it felt like a fast week. I'm not sure about Todd. We'll have to ask him, but he's been open at 25% capacity since Monday. We'll have to ask him about that. Just before we got to the open here, we started our Facebook Live a while ago. Greg was about to tell us about his Disney Plus that he just got so we could watch the new Star Wars movie. What was it you were going to say about Disney Plus?
So I was told that we might discuss the Rise of Skywalker since it has just made it to Disney Plus.
Yes.
And I thought that for show prep, I would actually watch the movie because I had not seen it.
Yes, yes.
Now. So I went on the old, Pirate Bay.
Oh no!
I went to try and watch it, and they have several of them on there, but they're all awful dubs and awful video. And I figured, you know what, Disney, you got me. Fine, okay,
you got me.
I'll do it.
How much was it really?
Well, it's $7 for the month.
Yeah.
Right now they're having a 1 week free at this moment.
Oh, okay. A little trial. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure I'll pay more than the month because I would like to watch all the Marvel movies again.
Yes, and Mandalorian.
Maybe revisit some of the older Star Wars movies as well. So
which apparently
we'll see.
Are. Do you have a 4K TV?
I do.
Okay,
and
so everything Star Wars should be 4K now. Yes.
Yeah, but not just in 4K. It's also in HDR10.
Well, that's excellent because for the first time, all of those Star Wars movies are now available in 4K through Disney Plus. So you'll have to give us your opinion on how they look.
Well, I have a fancy schmancy OLED TV, and boy, howdy, it looked gorgeous.
Yep. You're
Very
referring
pretty.
to watching Star Wars today? Looked good?
Yeah, on the OLED TV.
Yes.
Just very, very pretty.
So according to Rotten Tomatoes, it's one of the lesser scored of the 9 Star Wars movies. And I've had plenty of time to think about it now. But, Greg, it's fresh on your mind because you just saw it. So what are your thoughts on Star Wars Episode 9?
I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I'd like it because I went in with extremely low expectations. I had heard some of the buzz that it wasn't the best idea that they hoped for. But you know what? I don't think there was any way they could have finished that story to the satisfaction of the majority of Star Wars fans. It just wasn't going to happen.
With one of the main cast members dying off and having to use spare parts and spare movie. When Princess Leia passed away, Carrie Fisher, they had to use clips from the previous movie that were never used and drop them into this movie and make them fit into the script.
Is that what they did?
So
because
if you're saying you didn't notice that, then maybe that's a good thing. They did a good job.
I was actually aware that they had to do something because she died between the production of the 2 films, correct?
Right. She finished shooting that second film and then she passed away before it came out.
Right. So I was confused, or I was looking specifically to see if they had done the digital character thing or if they had just found interesting dialogue that she had done on the other film. And I think it might have been a mix of the both because there were a couple of scenes where she was in where her movement looked a little strange.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if maybe they did a little bit of that digital character stuff. But I could also tell that there were some scenes where it looked like that sounds like they just found something that worked there. And I'm glad to hear that that's kind of what they were doing.
And they kind of adjusted the script a little bit to
maybe a little.
Yeah.
But I think it worked. I think it worked okay.
Excellent. And so overall, you were happy with it. It was the longer runtime than the other films. Did it feel like it?
Yeah. The set design was amazing. The set design was absolutely incredible, and the sound design was really, really, really good.
They've done a good job of, lightsaber battles on planets, in lava and volcanoes. This one, they were just covered in water and just water crashing all around them.
Well, at least there was a lightsaber battle in this film.
Yeah.
To compare it to the rest of this trilogy, it's not nearly as good as whatever that first movie was. What was that called?
The first of the new trilogy?
Yeah. What was the first? What was 7?
That was called The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. It wasn't as good as that, and it was
Agreed.
certainly better than The Last Jedi.
Agreed. Yes.
I'm gonna put it on the better side of the half, though. Like, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I even got a little emotional toward the end,
yes.
which was, that's a good metric for Greg to watch movies if he gets that heavily invested that it lets his emotions, enjoy the film.
And these are dark times for Chewbacca, who's lost everybody that he's loved, but he did get his goddamn medal finally.
You know what? That's one of the places where I got real emotional, because I was like, that's a nice little throwback. After 48 years, he finally got his medal.
Yep.
But it wasn't even given to him by Leia.
Secondhand.
I mean, the bitch had to die and then say, "Hey, give this to Chewie," because I didn't do it in the last 48 years.
And if you look in the inscription on the back of it, it probably used to be Luke's or something like that. He'll be like, it's secondhand.
Well, yeah, because that would actually make a little sense. Or maybe it was Han Solo's or something like that.
Yeah, it could have been either one of theirs. Once their will was read and the property was distributed to the correct people, somebody got
clearly.
Yeah,
he had a better relationship with Han than he did with Luke. There were some interesting and unnecessary throwbacks in that film that I don't think were all that. I think they were just fan service.
Fan service, yes. You have an example.
And toy sales. There was no reason they needed to go to the Ewok planet and show Ewoks having a good time.
Oh, at the very end there, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although Endor was Endor the
forest moon of Endor is where the Ewoks lived. Yes.
Oh, the forest moon.
Yes.
But Endor is where the Death Star crashed.
The Death Star crashed on, was it a neighboring planet, or was it?
No, because they had to go to Endor and that's where that little MacGuffin was.
And so right? Endor had a huge ocean system, it appears then, that this Death Star crashed into. And what the hell? What would that have done to the tectonic plates and all that when that thing crashed into their planet? Like, these humans come to our planet. They've got this galactic war. They put us in the middle of it. And then when everything blows up and we're all celebrating, that thing, just crashed into their planet?
I think that was another problem I had with the film. Where is my map? What is going on here? Hold on a second. I need to pop this open. Oh, watch video. Here we go. I want to watch video. I'm trying to watch the
show.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, because I'd like to see comments.
Okay, so you can see because you can see comments as well. Because somebody was just asking. Oh, Dante says hello. Sup, boys?
Hey,
Sup, Dante. How you doing? The question before that, Samuel wanted to know, because you said about getting emotional. Was it just as emotional as when Optimus Prime died? I'm guessing you're referring to the animated Transformer movie in the '80s.
I would.
Was it as powerful as that?
Here's the thing. I didn't give a rat's ass about that animated film. I thought it was dumb.
Transformers?
Yeah.
Where's Todd? Where's Todd here to defend that?
Dumb.
It says Greg Moan has joined. Very good. Greg Moan has joined the conversation on Facebook.
Here I am. Oh, hold on.
You feel free to ask questions, Greg, if you'd like now.
There we go. Okay.
So, you've got yourself Disney Plus now. I've got Hulu Live that we've had for some time now, and right now on Hulu Live, HBO is running a little deal for all of us quarantine people out there, and they're giving us a bunch of stuff for free. Not HBO itself, but they're letting you watch every episode of The Sopranos, every episode of Silicon Valley, the new documentary that's out right now, McMillions, on the people who scammed McDonald's for millions of dollars with the tickets.
Oh, the Monopoly game.
Yes, the Monopoly game.
Yeah.
Fascinating 6-part series on how the FBI cracked down on these people. They get an anonymous tip, and how the FBI had to then go into creating a fake production company and then gather up all the old winners and say, hey, we're going to do a Where Are They Now? McDonald's Millionaire winners. And they got them all in, and they were pretending like they've got cameras and tripods and lights, and they're recording them. They're gathering all this evidence. But it was just fascinating and funny at the same time to see the FBI. And this guy's talking about, I had to learn how to use a light meter, and I don't know how to use this thing, and pretend like I know what I'm doing. And they had a fake company called Shamrock, and it was like the little Shamrock on the side of the van.
That's great.
Shamrock Productions, and they contacted all the old previous winners, and all the old previous winners were given the $1 million boardwalk pieces from somebody, and it was like they were handed off to a series of different people, and then they all got a cut of it. But it was just fascinating. And the reason why we don't remember any of this is that it went on, and by the way, this happened in every instance of the Monopoly game from 1989 until the year 2000. They scammed for 11 years. The same guy who worked for a security company not for McDonald's. McDonald's hired a security company to create the tickets, and this guy was the one who scammed them. But the reason why we didn't really hear about this and remember it is the day that everyone was finally busted after almost a 2-year investigation was 3 days before September 11th.
Oh.
So the bust went down, everyone gets arrested and apprehended, and a lot of it had to do with the Jacksonville FBI bureau, the bureau in Jacksonville. And then as soon as September 11th hit, that was it. Every FBI agent was now into the terrorism business. So it was back page news, where it was front page for those first week or so when everybody was arrested. Then after September 11th, everybody forgot about it. So it's interesting to have them rehash everything, talk with all the FBI agents, talk with all the people who were arrested, except for the main guy. He just didn't want to be on camera. But it's just fascinating that some people were duped. Some people didn't know the tickets were stolen when they accepted them from friends. Like the guy said, listen, the reason I have this ticket is a buddy of mine is getting a divorce, and he doesn't want his wife to get the share of the money. So will you pretend to be the person who won the $1 million, and we'll kind of split up the money? So it was a lot like that. $25 million of that.
So not too many people in the loop even knew what they were doing. And
those people in the end didn't get as harsh of a sentence because they were kind of duped and only got a portion of the money. But it was like $25 million of McDonald's money that was taken. It was $25 million they were going to give out to people anyway. But do you ever remember playing the Monopoly game in the 90s and the 2000s? Nobody ever won the $1 million legitimately.
That's messed up.
It was pretty fascinating how it all went. But it was a great 6-part series on HBO right now called McMillions. Great documentary. Highly recommend that to anybody who hasn't finished up everything else they wanted to binge watch. I finished Silicon Valley, one of my favorite shows.
When you say 6-part, is that a 6 hour?
Yeah, 6 1-hour documentary, like a Tiger King.
Well, I am again going to recommend Kidnapped in Plain Sight.
You said that last week, yes.
Yes. It's only an hour and a half, and it'll keep you going. How? But I'll see if I can figure out a way to get HBO. I may have gotten the second season of Westworld. I don't know how I might have stumbled upon that.
Season 3 is about to begin, isn't it?
Season 3, I believe, is already started.
Okay, I've been seeing a lot of commercials for it, like it's about to begin or it has begun.
Something like that. Yeah. I just really, really enjoyed season 1 so much, I'm already not really even liking season 2. I think
season 2 seemed very bogged down or complicated, or you needed a piece of paper and a pencil and keep track of it.
I feel like that happens a lot with series where the creators have an idea and they burn through the idea through the creation of the first season or whatever, because that's its own little thing, and you never know if it's going to take off or not. So you have some loose ideas of what you might want to do with it, but you're not really sure. And then once other producers get involved, and then you have studios, and then you have everybody, and they all want to push you in different directions, and some of the ideas aren't going to work because they weren't testing very well, and then you got to think of different things, and it just, I don't know, it feels that way with a lot of things that I like specifically.
Yeah, a lot of shows don't have a plan past that first year or second year.
Yeah, one of the best examples of that was Lost, where they had a fantastic idea, and they didn't know what to go with it. They weren't sure what to do.
I'm sending a message to Todd on Instant Messenger, our little group, to say, "Where are you?"
I can't.
I was hoping he
get this
heard
thing
us or didn't hear us. I thought
Facebook
he'd be back with
sucks,
us.
man.
Okay.
Facebook is stupid.
Is it slowing you down? Yeah.
Well, I can't pop this out. I can't pop this out to see the comments anymore.
Oh, okay. Todd just said yes.
Oh wait, no, I just did it. Just did it. Okay.
I'm having a hard time with that instant messenger there because I'm juggling 2 different computers. Can you tell Todd the link is right there in our instant message group there? He can click on that and connect with us on his phone again if he likes.
I really can't because my computer doesn't want to do 2 things at once.
I got it.
And apparently this requires a lot of processing to go on.
I'll tell him we
are
live.
on.
Click.
See, every time you send one of those messages, because my messenger's up, my whole computer kind of freezes up because it's like, oh no, you're asking me to do 101% stuff now.
Are you using the same computer you used last week, or are you using your main editing computer?
It's the only one that has a camera on it. I can't.
Oh, that's right.
You know what? I went to Walmart this past week and I looked, and all the webcams were gone. And I looked online. I looked on Amazon, and all the webcams that were under $100, it was going to take 3 weeks to get here.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, wait. Here comes Todd. Admit.
Hi, Todd.
I have to click on his button, and then we'll pull his camera up here.
Hey,
It says it's joining. Todd is joined. All right, now I got to adjust everything here because you are there. And
again, I should have had all this stuff working, but
I should have as well.
Watching the film ran late, and all of a sudden, when I was done with the film and I was getting ready to say, okay, now I should probably start this, it was 7:46.
There you go.
Hey, I hear his voice.
Hi. I hear Todd.
And I'm going to fade him in there. We're just waiting for his picture to arrive.
Uh-oh. You not have a picture?
I hear you. Hang on. Is there a way I have to turn your camera on? I can't do that.
Oh, you know what?
What am I doing? That?
Is it this one? What about this one? Try this.
Push this button.
Oh, wait. I think yes. Okay. One last thing. Just make sure you turn the phone sideways and it'll fill the screen up.
What happened?
Just turn your phone sideways.
Oh, okay.
This ain't Instagram.
Gotcha.
There he is. Todd Fisher, welcome to the show. If you were to join,
Look at that.
If you were to look at us on Facebook Live, which you can't right now because you're using your phone, Todd, you will see that we are live on our Gods and Monsters page this time. This time we're not live on YouTube. We're live on your Facebook page because we have many, many more friends on Facebook.
That's fair. Yes. Famed Luddite Todd Fisher has joined the conversation.
Yes. He came in late again, which is good. It's cool to make a late entrance when it's your show. I like that. That's very cool.
I don't think I even realized that we were doing this tonight. And Anna was just like, "Are you doing the thing?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Are you doing the thing?
Yeah, you doing the thing with the thing. You're doing the thing with those guys.
Well, the main thing, also because we're doing Facebook Live, we got questions coming down the screen. We'll try and throw questions at you once in a while from some of your fans.
Sure.
But the first thing, of course, we wanted to ask you was, how did it go at your first week at 25% capacity?
Well, funny story. No, it's been very slow, and
do you suppose that's because people don't really know that you're open?
Well, I made a video announcing that we announced it on the page. Usually the same avenues that we usually use to inform people. I think people know, but a lot of people still aren't comfortable coming out, I think.
Yeah.
And frankly, those that do aren't wearing masks or anything.
Oh,
so it's a bit off-putting. I think we're testing the waters this week. Like, I think tomorrow and the next day, we're going to continue to remain open, like regular hours. But I think in this coming week, we might start doing by appointment only and go back to what we were doing during the lockdown with the mail order and, a focus on that for the time being, because we're just not getting foot traffic. Like, I don't know how the other stores are doing in town, but I can't imagine they're doing any worse than we are this week.
You're also not getting the foot traffic from the tour groups that are come through.
Super Tours who drops off or was dropping off two times a day to Miami and our little stop there stopped weeks ago. So we haven't seen any of that. I mean, we still get. It's weird. The Brazilian restaurant that's in our little atrium is still doing business. I don't know. I didn't realize that restaurants were able to have people in, but they do.
No, at 25.
Sure, at 25% capacity, she says. But they're still plenty busy. But
I'm glad to hear that she's off camera there. I heard her voice. I don't have to read this in huge letter she just wrote me on our group message about the PPP loan going through and the whole explanation on that. So maybe she'll pop in at some point today and tell us a little bit about that. She just sent me this super long message on our Facebook Messenger. It just went like an entire page long.
Yeah, I believe that was what she sent to the crew.
Okay.
She sent that to the rest of the people that well, yes, we got approved for the PPP loan. There are a lot of little addendums that need to be taken care of in order for us to
Sure. Got a couple of friends that were just saying hello to Todd. Oh God, I almost spilled my beer on my computer.
Oh man,
Charlie Moore says, "There's the man," because you just popped up
hey,
on the
Charlie
screen.
Moore.
And Dante Frank says hello.
Hey.
Samuel Olesh says, "There's the man." Hello. He says, "There's the man."
There's certainly a man.
there's a
I
man,
don't know about
yes,
the man,
yes.
but I'm a man.
Because I started the show fumbling and bumbling by myself, and then Greg joined, and then we couldn't hear Greg, and it's like, oh God, where's Todd? And that's all right. We're live on the Facebook page, which I don't know if we've done live on the Facebook page
I mean, look
before.
at that.
Not like since
I don't know
the
if we have
wedding.
either.
Oh, look at this.
I've got the whole setup going on, and I just couldn't make it work.
That's all right. Maybe we'll do another practice and give me a chance to. I also wanted to be able to put video images on the screen.
What's
And then-
that?
oh, is it a Wonder
See what
Woman?
this is?
It looks like a Wonder Woman pencil sharpener. No, I don't know.
It's my pop socket. It just fell off.
Oh, from the phone. So now you have to actually hold
My
your phone.
phone's falling apart.
So now he's got to
no.
hold the phone just like he did last week for the entire 3 hours of the show.
That's right. I'm nothing if not tenacious.
So when it comes to the plaza where your store is, were you seeing any business there at those places as well, or not? Same as you?
Pretty much no play. R&R Records has been open a little bit. Bev Fly has been open to the public for most of the last few weeks, but pretty much everything else in the plaza is done.
And is it just you at the shop, Todd, or are you able to bring an employee in?
It has this week. It's been myself and Darian doing early shifts, while the wife and I are looking for houses. We're house shopping.
Hey, that's great.
Oh, interesting. Of course, the reason being is they've outgrown the house because they have 12 cats and they need to upgrade a little.
That's right. So you understand.
Yes.
You understand.
Reason being is they're raising our rent to $2,000 a month.
And
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
And my mom's
outrageous.
trying to help us out by buying a property.
And
Yeah.
That's
Why not?
outrageous, and you should not stand for that.
Perhaps this is a good time to purchase a house. Interest rates are down now, correct?
Why not?
Sure.
It's desperation.
It's mainly out of desperation.
Is the goal to stay close to the store? Is the goal to stay away from the store? Where are you looking at these days?
Well, it's a number of things. Obviously, we want to be as close to the store as possible, just to save on the commute. And it's looking like if things go through, the one that we have an offer out on is about the same distance that we're at now. We had a few that were like right up the road, like 5 minutes from the store, which would have been like magic. But those didn't work out. So we the one that we've got. The one that we looked at today that we really like, and I hope I'm not jinxing it. We put in an offer in on it today, and it's pretty spectacular, and it's about the same amount of time, about 15 minutes from the store. So.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Perhaps you could work out a deal with Fun World and live in the prize closet of their game room.
See, I should have you do all my negotiating, Greg. You have all the best to say.
I'm an idea man. I have ideas.
That's right. You're,
It's either that or we make pull-out beds for the vault and just live in our.
Oh,
I presume we could just live in the vault, right?
you know what? You could make cryo chambers in the vault. It would fit. It would fit with the theme.
Oh, those are just for theming. Those are just theming.
Of course, yeah.
That's nothing, officer. Why are you arresting me? No.
No.
So I
But
know,
you're
Todd, You're looking at your phone. You're only seeing a still image of me, unfortunately, because my image is actually on the Facebook Live page. But so are you, and so is Greg. So if Anna was able to look at our Facebook page on her phone, she would see we are live on Facebook. That is the Gods and Monsters Facebook page, where you are able to send in your questions, ask Todd about items, perhaps, that you're interested in purchasing.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, as always, Todd, gift certificates
You know
are for
what?
sale, correct?
You know what? I'm an open book. They can ask me anything.
Yes.
Ask me anything. I'm an open book. Yes, gift certificates are available. Always no any amount, no expiration. Of course, yes, those are always available.
Excellent. That's a good thing to just come by, stop by, do a drive through, and you just tell Todd you're out there. I bet he'd run that right out to you if you weren't comfortable coming into the store.
What's Kaja Cola?
What?
What is Kaja Cola?
Samuel
What
Olesh
is
is asking.
Cola?
Kaja Cola.
Kaja Cola?
Gives you ideas, he says.
It's probably a reference to a film or a game that I'm not.
Kaja. Kaja Cola.
Kaja Cola.
Perhaps he will explain that to us. Samuel will explain that to us in a future post coming up here.
I want him to.
Yes.
Because he's freaking me out.
All right. So of the 25% of your normal capacity people that showed up, what were they mostly purchasing this week?
Well, not much, to be fair. No, we actually had one of our regulars, Dalton Boofler, was in today, and he bought about $450 worth of trades.
Oh man,
Wow.
that's great.
Today was all right. We did okay today.
Great.
But I don't know. For the most part, a lot of the stuff that was selling, especially these last few weeks, have been like gaming supplies. Dungeons and Dragons was a gigantic seller for us over the course of this thing. Trade paperbacks. I did have I probably mentioned this last week. We had a mother, Elizabeth Loftus, and her son Reese, who was celebrating his 11th birthday. She was referred to us by our friend David Goldstone, and she sent all of Reese's relatives, like grandparents and everybody, to me to fill up a store credit line for him for his birthday. He ended up spending about $500 as well.
Wow. Okay.
He had it's great. The kid's turning 11 years old, and he's already making like stop motion movies, and so he got a lot of really articulated figures to use in his movies. Pretty cool. He actually gave me a call today. He gave me a call today at the store because I guess his mom has agreed to buy him his first hot toy. If you know what hot toys are, they're these 12-inch dolls that are based on movies or Captain America and all those guys. But they're Japanese, and they're super articulated, and they just look amazing. But he was asking my opinion which one he should get, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So
did he have one in mind, or he wasn't sure because he had a lot to choose from?
He brought up Captain America specifically, and I was like, well, they've got probably a dozen different ones that they've done. They've done all the different versions from the different movies and all that. So he said you shouldn't have any problem finding them. And I gave him the references to the sites where you could find them and ones to look out for. But it's just cool. We're influencing the youth of today.
Yes.
He does have America's ass, so
that's
there's
right.
that.
Yes, that's right.
Hey Todd, do you sell minifigs at your store?
Do I sell minifigs?
I'm sorry, I'm probably referencing it incorrectly. The minifigs for Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop games.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah.
They don't come painted, right? You're to paint them yourself normally.
It depends. Most of the time, they come unpainted, and you are encouraged to paint them yourself. But WizKids specifically puts out. They're these blind box boosters that have pre-painted miniatures. You can also get like starter packs and everything where they're pre-painted.
I guess where I was going with that is that this would be a probably pretty good opportunity for people who wanted to get into that and paint their own minifigs and stop. Pick up a bunch. I don't assume that you sell any of the crafts that go along with it. I mean, that'd be something you have to go to a craft store to pick
well,
up.
we do some of the paint sets. They do, special.
Okay.
Yeah, they do paint sets through Dungeons and Dragons. The same guys that do the miniatures actually.
Well, there you
do,
go. If you're playing
especially
Dungeons
paints.
and Dragons, if you're just getting started and you need a minifig set, go to Gods and Monsters, pick up your mini set,
We
and then
totally
pick up
have
your
that
paints.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Take the time, learn how to paint your little minifigs, and there you go. You're
That's
ready
it.
for your next campaign.
It's funny how you said take your time because there's plenty of time
Right.
to take right now. So you're
There's
absolutely right. Got a message from Charlie Moore. He just wanted to say hi to both of you, and he said he should have been flying out to Orlando tomorrow, but obviously flight's canceled, so Charlie won't be able to come visit you.
See, and speaking of painting, Charlie is a master. He's a master at painting. He does build-ups and customs for action figures. He's genius.
Charlie also said he'll save his money and perhaps purchase things from you online, which is a good time to bring up. How is the online store going right now? How's God's?
We are currently.
godsmonsters.com?
Not even 2 hours ago, I was adding stock to the yet to be launched. We haven't launched it yet, but I'm filling it with product.
Good.
To launch it in the coming weeks. But yeah, funny story. I was adding miniatures today, adding a bunch of single miniatures. So yeah, we'll definitely be launching that. I presume it'll just be a click link off of our main website. But yeah, it's a work in progress. I'm spending a little bit of every day adding a little bit of product to the online inventory. So that'll be launching shortly, I guess.
And Samuel Olesh is also asking about masterwork models. Is that something you have?
He's throwing all these things that I've never heard of at me. I don't know.
By the way, yeah, Samuel, that
Maybe
previous
he's
reference,
just showing off his big brain.
that previous reference
Sam,
he
I
made
love
that we
you.
didn't know about.
I don't know
was-
what you're talking about.
That previous reference was from World of Warcraft, and as we all know, Todd does not play video games, so you
I
should have known
don't.
better than to throw
You
that
don't.
reference out there.
My wife probably would have known what that was.
No,
used
she
to
only
play
plays Animal Crossing.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah, I'm switched.
Yes, the real joy will come when they merge the two. If they merge the two,
Oh,
yes.
There's probably no slaughtering involved in Animal Crossing. Is that correct?
Well, I actually somebody cut together a horror movie trailer for Animal Crossing that I'll send to you guys. It's very clever.
I'm gonna say that's one of my more favorite things to do lately is go on YouTube and you look up alternate trailers
Yes.
or something. They take all these films and they
Mhm.
recut them into like they made Shining
a
rom-com.
comedy, yes, or they
It's
turned
so
Mary
good.
Poppins into a horror film. Yes.
It's so good, and they're so good. Yes, they're
There's a
great.
lot of talented people out there, or they take old films and recut their trailers to be modern
Yeah.
trailers. That's very
Yeah.
entertaining as well.
Yeah, I remember
They
I think
did,
we all made a comment one time a couple of years ago when somebody recut the Empire Strikes Back trailer, and it was like,
That's
oh
what
my
I was
God,
gonna say.
I want to
Yeah,
go see that movie.
I mean, man, right? That was so killer.
A lot of
Yeah,
it was just music selection, I think.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's,
they,
a style.
they were-
There's a new style to cutting trailers that they just didn't do in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
We were
But,
talking before you came online, Todd.
Yeah.
Greg had told us that he did finally sign up for Disney Plus and just finally saw Episode 9 of Star Wars, and he was giving his thoughts on it. And I don't recall asking you your thoughts about the final Star Wars film, Episode 9.
You're talking about the Rise of Skywalker,
Correct.
yes? The
Yes.
most recent film.
Greg is caught up
Um,
and has seen it now.
Greg has caught up and has seen it now. I seem to be in the minority in that I loved it. Of
Mhm.
course I loved it, but a lot of people didn't. It's a very divisive film. I think all of the sequel trilogy has been kind of polarizing.
Right.
But
Polarizing is a good word. Yeah.
yeah, polarizing, good word.
But we didn't have internet in 1983. I bet Return of the Jedi was more polarizing than we realized because there was nobody to bitch and complain about it, to talk about how there are a bunch of little Muppets running around in the jungle.
Oh, sure. No, I get. I've gotten. It's so polarizing. In fact, I've gotten death threats online and all that.
Lost a lot of business.
Seriously,
I lost a lot of business
have
after
them
that
framed
review I
on my
gave.
wall. Yeah,
There is a point that I wanted to make that we didn't get to, Art. Is at the end of the film when they take out the Final Order, there were a lot of people on those ships, and they crashed onto planets all over the galaxy.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of those people were children stolen from other planets to
Yep.
become stormtroopers,
Yep.
no fault of their own, complete
You're not
innocence,
wrong.
and they just
I mean,
killed millions of people.
listen, it doesn't matter
They're
what
going,
galaxy it is. War is hell. War is hell.
That's right.
Even in a galaxy
War
far,
is
far
hell.
away.
I I suppose.
But yeah,
hell.
you're absolutely
But that's right after, pretty much right after they made the point of the one company of stormtroopers who had just said, no, we're not going to kill innocents, so
Right.
we throw down
They
our
went
swords
rogue. Yeah, that
and
was
we're
great.
gonna be on our own. But then we were just like, let's just kill millions of them. Who cares?
Now,
Kill
Todd,
everybody.
Todd, did you get through all of Mandalorian?
Oh yes, yeah.
Because
Mandalorian
that's something
was
for
a lot
Greg
of fun.
now. We highly recommend now that he has Disney Plus is to get through
I-
Mandalorian.
I don't like Baby Yoda. Nope.
No, don't. It's not actually Baby Yoda. It's just a Yoda-like figure who's.
You take that back.
babyish.
You shut your whore mouth.
You got a lot of Baby Yoda's plushies to sell.
Sir. Baby Yoda is beautiful. No. Actually, no. Mandalorian was very, very well handled, I thought.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's everything. It's cool because I think the reason it works so well is because it's not tied to any particular canon for anybody to get pissed off about.
Correct.
It's its own story.
You know what I mean? Like, well, it's not like Luke and Leia are showing up or anything that would piss people off enough or polarize people enough to not want to connect to it. It has concepts and planets and things that you've heard of, but it is its own kind of beast, and it's kind of everything that you want out of Star Wars.
Agreed. Fair.
When you
100%.
heard that they were that Disney was going to be doing a serial Star Wars universe series, did you have high expectations, or were you going in like, oh great, or were you pretty satisfied with the Clone Wars series and how they did that and had a lot of expectations for it?
I'm going to preface this with I have not watched the final season of Clone Wars. I was waiting for it to wrap up.
Yeah, I haven't
because I want to watch the whole thing as a big chunk. I have watched up until this season, but I have not yet watched this season. I think I argue a lot with people that I think Disney is the best place for Star Wars to be, because I feel that nobody can nurture an IP quite like Disney. Disney's kind of,
Agreed.
For lack of a better term, the juggernaut of IP. Like if you've got something that you want to stick around for a while, if Disney's got it, that's probably going to happen. Yep. So we'll have Star Wars in one form or another forever now, and I think that's great.
Great.
I do. We used to have to wait. What was it, Art? 3 years between movies.
3 years.
And
I mean, we would change
decades.
schools. Our voices would change. I mean, how many years did we wait? How much life experience did we get in between those films? We waited forever.
Yeah. So I mean, and like I said, I like the sequel movies. I like what Disney has done with the franchise so far, and I know a lot of people don't, but I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care.
I'll say this as far as Disney goes with the property, is that I thought the Rise of Skywalker was really dark and very violent. Like it was by far the most violent of the three.
And the series needed to go that way.
End films.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're wrapping up a lot of pretty dark storylines. So I mean, that Emperor stuff was pretty tasty, man.
Oh yeah,
that was good. I liked it.
I wish there was a way that could have been a secret. You know
what was a secret? It's something I did not hear about. I did not know about, but I did not. I was actually a little bit surprised when Harrison Ford showed up in the film.
You're right. I didn't know about that either.
No one told me about that, and it was not in any pre-material or anything like that.
That got me too. I didn't know that was coming.
I was also wondering if we were ever going to see Mark Hamill again, because J.J. Abrams basically said, "Well, he's gone. He's gone." It just seemed like he wasn't going to be in this at all, and then that bothered me though, because since when can Force ghosts actually do stuff? Like
I mean, just because we haven't seen them do something doesn't mean that they can't. That was what they were doing with Rey and Kylo's this connection, this
physical.
connection.
I thought that was really cool,
Producing
except for
new
the
Force
Freddy
abilities.
Krueger thing that they were doing,
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
could actually bring materials from one side to the other.
I
thought
think
that was
Yoda always
phenomenal.
had that power. He was just never one to show off. Not until the last movie when he actually took his cane.
Right.
And he actually did hit Luke with it, didn't he?
No, that was in Empire.
No.
I mean, that was in that was in Empire where he knocked him on the head, wasn't it?
No, I'm talking about forced Ghost Yoda hit
Oh.
Luke with his cane. Didn't he on this last film?
No, sir.
I don't
Oh, no,
think so.
wait. It was when they were burning the Jedi Temple. Didn't he like actually hit him with his cane?
Yes.
Okay,
I think you're
okay.
thinking of Rafiki in The Lion King.
No, not at all.
Oh.
I'm seeing
Well,
a
yeah,
question.
but Ghost Yoda also conjures lightning, in Last Jedi. So I mean,
Mhm.
they're as
He
powerful.
he took the
are-
Jedi advanced classes.
That's
Yeah,
right.
He really,
Yes,
he really knuckled down, and he really bared down.
I'll tell you
and
what,
studied.
the end lightning scene where Palpatine was shooting lightning up into the
Yeah.
sky on my TV. Holy balls, that was
Yes.
awesome.
We were mentioning
Yeah,
this
wasn't that
before.
cool?
Greg has the 4K TV, and these things are broadcast in 4K for the very first time. So it should be even better than the Blu-ray box if you bought that.
I've got 4K OLED and Dolby 10, so
Yes.
it's like
Jesus.
it looked in 3D. It was amazing.
Oh, I'll bet it was amazing.
hmm
Excellent. We had a question from Samuel. He says, "What about?" I can't read that, Greg. What does it say?
Taiki Waititi.
Hey, Taika Waititi.
Oh, doing the
Yeah, it
next
was
Star
just,
Wars movie. Thank you, Sam. Yes, good
yeah,
topic.
We're getting a Taika Waititi helmed feature film. Like he did at least one of the episodes for Mandalorian.
Yes.
And I guess they've given him the go ahead to do a new feature film, which I'm very excited about. Of
Which
course.
they haven't explained when this takes place or when they're going to shoot this movie.
No.
Everything's on hold right now. But
No, they announced it on May the 4th, which was this last
Mhm.
Saturday or something.
Is
Yeah.
this going to continue after Episode 9, but it'll just have its own title? We don't know. We don't know anything
Don't know.
about it. But it's just good to hear there's something on the books,
Yeah.
so that, like always, like our whole life, we have
Sure.
something to look forward to.
Give me the Star Wars. I don't care.
Like you'd made a reference to back before, like we had how long we had to wait in between films. When my favorite movie of all time came out in 1977, and they said the next one's coming out in 1980, I was like, man, I could be dead by then. That's like 3 years from now. At least Disney gets them out every 2 years for us, but 3 years was a
Right.
lifetime back then.
Oh man, and it's weird. Like you had all this time to have kind of your own storylines, kind of your own storylines and playing with the toys and everything, and like your own kind of fan canon that you.
I'll
were
tell you
building.
what,
course.
that is one thing of my childhood that I actually really remember is playing with a friend of mine with his Star Wars figures, because my parents wouldn't
Yeah.
buy me anything. But
Oh, you had
playing with his Star Wars figures, and we kind of made our own little things going on, which
Now,
the
Greg,
imagination of a child.
Greg, did you have Star Wars figures growing up?
I did not. I had to go to my friend's house to play with their
Right,
toys.
he didn't have any. So
No.
he was the sole source.
And that's why I didn't care much about Star Wars, because as I'm told, it was the first movie I was ever taken to in a theater, but I was 6, so I don't really remember it as much. It's just
As a
flashes
frame of
and
reference,
noises.
how old are you?
I'm 48.
48. Okay, so
Yeah.
you were a year my senior.
I am.
So
And
you-
Art is a year our
48.
senior.
I'm still 48.
You're going to be 49 soon.
Yeah, August. But yeah, I was 6 years old when Star Wars came out, and you were.
And I really
5,
don't
guess,
remember
Tom.
it. The first film I really remember seeing in a theater is Clash of the Titans.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Had your Harry Hamlin poster on your wall. I could just imagine.
Holy
all of
crap,
it. Yeah.
that's a scary movie when you're like 8.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So,
Medusa,
let's
come
see.
on, Medusa and her head falling off and all that green blood coming out.
Okay, so if you weren't a Star Wars fan, what toys did youthful Greg play with?
This is a good question.
I had the hoop with the stick that you smack down the road. I had the metal roller skates that you use the key to like tighten on your
Yikes.
In a
shoes.
time before real toys.
To be completely honest, I had a light bright.
Okay.
Oh wow, I don't remember a whole lot of toys. When I was
Anything
growing
Matchbook
up.
cars? You have a love for cars. is that
Sure,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
I had Matchbox, Hot Wheels, or whatever. But yeah, I had a sit and spin and the hippity hop and just
So that's fascinating to me. So you didn't have any kind of you weren't into any action figures or anything like that? Any
I
kind of action
really
figure line?
didn't have any action figures, and I had no Legos. I had Lincoln Logs.
No Transformers, no none of that. That's fascinating to me.
I had one Transformer.
Which Transformer? Do you remember which one?
I do. It was the one that turned from the. I don't remember the name of it, but it
If
was
you
the one
say
that,
it turned into a car, I'm going to
no,
kick your
the
ass.
one that turned into the train and the
That one
space shuttle.
that turned into a truck.
No, the three, the one that turned into a train and the space shuttle.
Oh, Astro Train.
Oh,
Sure,
look at him.
Astro
Todd,
Train.
Todd, quick with
The
the
triple
buzzing in
changer,
with the
yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
come
that
on,
was,
man. I
that
got
was
you.
the one. That was the one that I had, and I think I had a couple of GoBots because they were less
Okay.
expensive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember which GoBots?
No, God, no. That was so long ago, and
Not really.
I know that I knew what they were at the time, but it's been so long that I just don't remember anymore.
Okay, so you weren't necessarily you weren't necessarily a toy kid.
No, I wasn't. I was more an active kid.
You were
just
go out
playing
and play
on the
kid,
playground.
Were you sports active as a child? Did you love sport?
Not as much as like organized sports, but my parents were great in the fact that they bought a house that was on the edge of the neighborhood playground, and the playground was huge.
Basketball.
By today's standards, just gigantic. And we lived there for 8 years or something, 7, 8 years. And so every summer, it was like summer camp. They had counselors and paid people, and we had activities and all kinds of stuff. So to be completely honest, my toys didn't really matter as much as just getting out to the playground every day, play with friends,
I got you.
Kickball, and all kinds of stuff.
Very
What about you,
Todd?
Art?
Todd, I have toys now, so I'm making up for
True,
lost time.
true.
I have all of the toys.
Miatas are toys
Miatas.
now.
He
Yeah.
plays this way.
No,
Cameras
the toys
and
I had were
Lighting.
It was almost from the beginning. It was the Star Wars toys. Not as many Star Wars toys as it was Empire Strikes Back. Empire comes out in 1980 in summer or May. So that Christmas it was AT-AT, and I can see the AT-AT out on my porch right now. I still keep him on display. I've got the AT-AT from 1980.
Yes.
And to put
So wait, you still have your AT-AT, your original AT-AT?
Yes, still have the original AT-AT.
He brought it to a couple of.
I did bring it to a Gods and Monsters when we did a Star Wars
Yes,
marathon.
that's amazing.
And you jam 2 giant D batteries in there, and it will still work. And so it was the AT-AT, the Scout Walker, the Land Speeder, Jabba's Palace, and but yeah, I guess in '77. I hadn't gotten into a couple of the action figures, maybe an R2-D2 and C-3PO, but once Empire hit and I was a little bit older, it was.
Hey, Steven Spivak shows up in the.
Steven, I haven't heard from you in quite some time. I see him on Facebook quite a bit. He's joined us on Facebook Live. He just
Hey, everybody,
and said hello.
Steven?
Yes. Steven had been a guest on our show a few times, and actually Greg and I were a guest on his podcast once.
I believe, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he is now engaged to that lovely girlfriend.
That we met. Yes, maybe he can confirm that. Of course, now if he comes back and says no, it didn't work out, then when I'm
I'm sorry.
He's probably going to confirm that any second now once the delay kicks in.
I imagine he will.
But to continue with that question, Todd, tell us about your Star Wars toys as a child and others.
See, it's weird hearing Greg talk about it. It almost makes me feel like I grew up damaged because man, I had toys all the time. Like most of my early memories were like I remember Adventure People from Fisher Price were a big deal for me. Micronauts.
I had them. I had people in the plane and all that good stuff.
Oh yes.
Yep. Yeah, that stuff was fantastic, and that was kind of my my entry into the 3 3/4-inch scale figures before Star Wars and later G.I. Joe like really cemented them as kind of the norm for most of the big franchises. Then of course Transformers, G.I. Joe and Transformers came in the early 80s and kind of changed everything. And I was knee deep in those for a while. I tried to get into He-Man, but I think my friends, Trent in particular had was big into He-Man, so he kind of had the He-Man stuff. So I didn't really have to get a bunch of them, but I got a few. I got like Manny Faces, and I got his name is many faces because he has.
Yes.
I remember that thing. You could twist his.
Yes.
There was like a knob. Like his head didn't turn, but the faces
Yes.
inside the head.
He had
turned.
many faces. He was a many faces. Anyway, and Trapjaw, of course, everybody had to have Trapjaw. He was kind of the Boba Fett of Masters of the Universe. He was pretty cool. But as a whole, like I never had my own Castle Grayskull or any of that stuff. So it's weird. I've maintained a love and a kind of an obsession from afar for Masters of the Universe. And let me think, what else? Centurions were big for me. Visionaries were big for me. What's that?
I don't even know what Centurions are.
I'll send you cartoon intros, and you can go like, oh.
Was G.I. Joe a thing with you, Todd?
G.I. Joe was a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
Right, and it was great because they came along during the time that Star Wars was still being produced, and they were the same scale. So like Snake Eyes and Han Solo could totally hang out. It was crazy.
It's blasphemy, but still, that's good.
No, my parents were very cool about getting me especially the Star Wars stuff. Star Wars stuff, it was a pretty constant influx of new product. They saw how much it affected me and saw how much I loved Star Wars.
What was your biggest item you had Star Wars wise? You have a Millennium Falcon. Did you have yourself an AT-AT as well?
The AT-AT I pretty much, if they made it, there were very few Star Wars things that I didn't have. And most of that stuff was later on, like 83 through 85. I started to kind of taper off buying everything, and I was just buying.
One thing I do remember about the Star Wars toys is that the Millennium Falcon was kind of like the crown jewel toy.
It was.
Oh yeah.
None of my friends had one.
Nope.
Because they were like $50, $70 or something. I mean, they were expensive, whatever they were. None of us had one.
It was and still is, I think. It's a great toy. Like if you just look at it for what it is, like you get a good one that's complete, it's a great toy.
And there's some heft to it. You could like bash your baby sister in the head with it, knock her out. Yeah.
It was big. It was bigger than most of the kids playing with it. So I mean, it was pretty cool, and it made sound, and it had that. Oh, I say it made this alarm sound. It's supposed to make an alarm sound, but it was just this kind of whirring engine. It's like.
Yep.
That sounds just like it.
Did you ever, not completely off topic, but we were talking about G.I. Joe? Because I had a G.I. Joe book and record. Did you ever have any of those as a child? I had Spider-Man, Hulk, and one G.I. Joe book and record. I think I can recite all of them.
Book and record. A lot of mine that I remember were, I had the Star Wars ones, of course.
Yes.
I had a friend. I was actually thinking about him the other day. His name was Steve. And I can't remember his last name right now. Steve Schwartz, I think. Steve Schwartz. But he introduced me to the Empire Strikes Back soundtrack album because I had the storybook ones, but I had never I went over to his house to hang out one day, and he put on he pulled out the sleeve, and of course it had that space background with the Vader kind of.
Oh yes.
And he stuck that thing on, and the music from the movie was playing, and I lost my mind. I was like, "What is this?" Because I'm like 7 or 8 at this point, not even, 7, I guess. And man, it blew my mind. I put somebody gave me one of those 10 albums, 10 days things on Facebook, and that was one of my.
You
first
put Empire
ones.
on there, and I remember you in the past talking about, and I have the same love for. One of the songs called Field of Stone, one of the asteroid, when they're going through the asteroid belt. And it's just, you hear it when you're watching the movie, like, this is so cool. But when you hear it, just the song, it's like, oh, this is fantastic. This song is amazing.
It's so much better.
Yeah, because you can just concentrate on the Williams composition of the music.
It just, it changed me hearing that because it just didn't it didn't click for me that you could just go out and buy an album with all the music. And I was just like, where has this been? So of course
Wait a minute, Todd, you're 9-10 years old listening to the John
7.
Williams score.
I was 7.
Of Star Wars or Empire?
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. So 7 years old, listening to the score of Empire
That's right.
Strikes
Yeah.
Back. You're
That's
a
right.
very fancy fellow.
I'm a fancy fellow.
I think,
Yeah, most of my top 10 hits have been soundtracks.
Oh, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because when you think of soundtracks and you think of movies, something you put on Facebook this week, coming out on Blu-ray and 4K next month or in August, is Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon.
Coming
Can't
out
wait.
on 4K and Bluray.
Look, so
The
I had
bet-
my little tiny channel, Models of Movies, and Flash Gordon was one of the films that we watched and reviewed. And
It's one
I
of the
don't
best, worst
care.
movies
I
ever.
don't care. That's one of the greatest films ever made. I love
you know
that
what?
movie.
Talk about committing to the bit. Man, they are so earnest, and they believe in that movie so much.
Mhm. They
I
may have
thought that
coined
was
the
great.
expression "all in." They were just all in on this.
They were. It's unflinching. They don't give a shit. We are
He knew
making
what he
this
was
movie
making.
this
He
way.
knew he was making an old timey radio serial where the heroes were larger than life and the villains were larger than life.
Oh, and Max von Sydow is
Oh,
like,
yes,
so
Yeah,
great.
he gave it all. He
bull.
didn't even think it was silly. I don't think. I think he thought he was trying to make some sort of masterpiece.
Not the
of-
bullworms, Fada, not the bullworms.
I hope there's on this new Blu-ray that comes out, they go back and interview as many living actors and actresses as possible. He just passed away recently.
Who
He
did?
did.
Von
That makes me
Sydow.
sad.
Okay.
Ming the Merciless
But-
passed away last month or the month before.
But
And
True
the actor who played Flash, he wanted to make
Sam
I
Jones.
believe he was all in for making a sequel for decades.
I saw the documentary on him, something about on Netflix about
Sam
Sam Jones, and
I
he
think, Sam.
yeah. And a great companion to Flash Gordon would be the movie Ted, if you've ever seen that. The movie with the
About
talking
the
bear.
teddy bear?
Yes.
Really?
Oh God, Sam Jones is in that.
He's in it. I know
as
he's in
Sam
it.
Jones. And then
Right,
at one
yeah.
point in the movie, there's a fight scene, and they play the fight scene song from Queen.
That's right.
During it, and it's just a great companion piece to Flash Gordon, the first Ted movie. Was it Ted? I'm saying that right? What
It's
the teddy
Ted.
bear
Yeah,
was
Ted,
Ted.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was just great to see that he had an appreciation for that movie, as we did growing up.
Sure.
So
Oh,
yeah, coming out in August, Flash Gordon. on
Completely
Blu-ray.
weird segue from Ted to Orville. I'm really disappointed that there's only 2 seasons of Orville on the Orville on Hulu. I can't
that's
see any of the
because
3rd season.
There is no 3rd season yet. It hasn't come out yet. Fox.
Yeah, there's no 3rd season.
Fox has transferred Orville to Hulu. It'll be exclusively a Hulu show. They said they needed to transfer from Fox to Hulu for budgetary reasons, and he says he doesn't want to. Seth MacFarlane. He says he does not want to scale back on these great scripts that they've got, so he doesn't want to cheap out on them when it comes to how they look. And they're going to go with Hulu now, and the show should look just as good or better once we get into that 3rd
Well,
season.
I gotta say, Seth must have a love for Next Generation, like we all have a love for Next Generation, because after the first few silly episodes, it really settled into this is just a cooler version of the Next Generation.
And there were times when I would be halfway into one of those Orville episodes, and I would think about the script of this episode. I'm like, man, this would have made a great Next Generation script. Oh, what would they have done with this? When they went down to that one planet, and then they went back up to the ship, and then when they came back, 70 years or something had passed, and and then there was they were all worshiping her, and then it was fascinating, the script ideas they've come up with on that show.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because obviously I think a lot of people were skeptical and kind of trepidatious about the show, because Seth MacFarlane is primarily known for
goofing on things.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And the first couple of episodes are kind of heavier with that. It's like they were trying to find the voice of the show.
They were trying to be like Galaxy Quest or something.
And it really felt like after a couple of episodes, like he said, you get to the point where there are episodes where you're just like, I don't really remember much humor in this episode. And I find that fantastic, because it's kind of organically grown into, like he said, kind of a natural what would you call it, successor to the Star Trek series that we loved.
Yeah, it's like
homage.
it's like
I
they
think it's
just
great.
switched universes a little bit, but it's all the same feel. It's all the same, like you care
yeah.
about what's going on.
And
Yeah, it feels like they're using like the same film stock and everything. Like it's like the set lighting and everything.
What I like about it the most is that they took Next Generation, that Gene Roddenberry like dream or universe, and he pulled all the like Deus Ex Machinas out of it. So no transporters. There's no such thing as transporters,
Right.
which works because they have to solve all their problems by physically going to places, and
Yeah,
they can't
sure.
just beam out of somewhere if they get in trouble.
And I bet the writers of Next Generation many times were like, God, they made it so hard for us to write these shows and write drama or into it because we've got transporters and we can solve problems quickly. So there'd always be an episode where it's like, sorry, Captain, the transporters aren't working. That's the writers saying,
Sure.
okay, we need to make this cooler without the damn transporters. So they just solved that problem
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
Orville right from the get-go. There are no such thing as transporters.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think that works.
Yeah.
I wonder, what does Paramount and Star Trek creators think of the show Orville when they watch it? And it's like, oh, Jesus, he's sitting in a chair and his number one is right next to him. And then they go to a planet and they say, all right, we're going on the away mission. It's like they're pulling from the skeleton of many Star Trek episodes, but they're still their own original show. But you got to wonder, like Fox, I think, does. And Seth
So
MacFarlane's
Fox produces it.
or Seth MacFarlane's production company, and Fox maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, you got to wonder what they think about it. It's like, do we have a lawsuit here, or is it like we take it that he's doing this out of respect and it's an homage?
That is interesting. Like the what is it, the Gene Roddenberry family or whatever, or whoever
Yeah, the
owns
Roddenberry
that
family.
property. Did they get a blessing to do this, or does anybody look over these scripts and say, hey, wait a minute?
I don't know. I do know that McFarlane has been actively and publicly seeking to buy Star Trek.
Really?
Yeah, there were a lot of stories about him in active conversations with CBS, I guess, to purchase the property, to purchase the franchise. At least the CBS end of it. I guess Paramount owns the movie rights or whatever. And
that all
kind
gets
of stuff.
very, very complicated.
It
with
does.
The distribution and the ownership of the characters and all that weird stuff.
And as recently as this morning, I read a thing where it looked like Netflix was trying to buy Star Trek.
Interesting.
So, yeah, which I think would be great, because I know that this is divisive talk too, but I love Discovery.
Yes.
I think Discovery is probably the best Trek we've ever had, and that's coming from somebody who loves all the previous Trek.
Greg's in the middle of Discovery right now, just so you know.
Let me rant 45 seconds on this. I thought Discovery was a fantastic idea. The production quality is off the charts. It looks better than any film from the Next Generation series of films. Every episode looks better than those films. The writing is good. The ideas were great. I got into season 2, and I'm 3 episodes into season 2, and about 48 minutes into the third episode, I shut that shit off. I'm done. It is so dumb.
I don't remember what
happened.
It
is so dumb. I had to turn it off.
That episode, or just where it's headed?
Just the first 3 episodes. Like the first episode was okay.
So wait, what was
second episode
I
got
need to know,
dumber.
what was
third
what was
I think they started seeing images of the angel at that point.
Yeah, it's not that. It was when the redheaded girl went into she went into the Matrix thing, and then there was all kinds of bullshit going on, and it just felt like they just said, okay, Deus Ex Machina because we're in the network, and then bam, everything's fine or everything's not fine, or it just got to me. It got to the point where I just gave up. I couldn't.
That's unfortunate.
Because the first season was so good. The first season was so good that I was disappointed watching it slide off of the mountain and just go into obscurity.
You haven't gotten into any of the Pike or Spock episodes yet, then?
Yes, they're chasing after Spock,
Yes.
and every time they think they know where he
He's
is,
one step ahead of him. Yes.
oh, he's not there. And it's just like, oh, come on, man. Either
it's
find him
coming.
or don't find him.
I would recommend to keep going with it because
Would-
they do a
I would
great. There's a whole
implore you.
throwback to the cage coming up. I don't remember what episode that was, but
I
it was-
ended my subscription. I'm done.
Oh,
I'm done.
What?
There's a great throwback to the cage, the unaired
I
pilot.
was so
of the
mad.
original
I was just
series.
like, boop,
Oh,
done. I cancel you.
wow.
Man,
I got to rewatch that episode
Missed
to see
out.
what happened.
missed out, man. That shit's
Is either the
good.
third episode or fourth episode of second
I will
season?
say one thing about Discovery that does bother me. Every major character has either almost died or died and come back by the end of each episode, where it's like he's not going to make it. He's like, he made it. He's back. Or it happened to her. It's happened to a couple of characters where it's like, this is it. They're gone. Or the doctor guy. He's like, yeah, he's gone.
maybe that was it.
Get
Maybe
the
that
mud
was it. It was-
episode where everybody died.
Yeah.
It was when the redheaded guy found his doctor boyfriend for
Yep.
the second time.
Yep.
And then for the second time, he had to say goodbye to him.
Ah.
It was just like, no, forget it. I'm done. No.
Wow, that's what. Come on, that's what they call character development. That shit's good.
I only want to feel things once for a character. I am not going to be strung along and say, okay, next episode, you're going to feel it all over again. I'm like,
Oh,
no,
man.
no, fool me once.
They've got some
Oh
great
God,
characters.
that means you're not gonna. God, you're not gonna.
I know.
He
He's not
doesn't
I
gonna-
don't care, Todd. I don't care, Todd. I'm watching the last season of True Blood now. That's it. That's what I'm doing.
True Blood. That was HBO, right? I believe all episodes of True Blood are now on Hulu Live, where the free HBO section. That's Silicon Valley,
Yep.
True Blood, the Monopoly McMillionaires documentary, all the Sopranos. They're
Oh,
all
yeah.
available now.
Well, True Blood has always been available on Hulu. Only 6 out of the 7 seasons. So like 2 years ago, I watched through 6 seasons of True Blood, and when I got to like the last episode of season 6, I go to start season 7 because I know that's the last season. It says, "Nope, sorry, you're gonna have to pay for it." And I said, "Nope, I'm not gonna."
I'm not gonna do that.
Samuel wants to.
But now it is.
Samuel is asking to quickly change the subject here and ask you who is your favorite Star Trek Doctor.
Bones, of course.
Mm. Yeah, I would probably say McCoy.
I agree.
Just
I agree.
because I thought that his depth of character was always
Please.
great, and he was a great foil for.
Wait,
Spock.
who was the one doctor?
Please state the nature
from,
of your medical emergency. What about Hollow?
Yeah.
Doctor?
Who was the one season of Next Generation?
Oh,
Pulaski.
Pulaski.
Yeah, Dr. Pulaski left. She fell down the elevator shaft. No, wait, that was L.A. Law. She fell down the elevator shaft in L.A. Law. Same
He made me
actress.
so mad. Pulaski made me so mad because she, we had a great season with Crusher,
Yeah.
and then this chick comes in and right out of the gate, she's giving Data shit,
Calling
and I'm
him
just
Data
like,
and not thinking of him as an
oh.
individual. Yeah.
sit.
Kinda
What's the
racist.
difference?
Yeah.
What's
she
the
was
difference?
cold and she was
My
not very
name-
friendly, and it wasn't Crusher.
She
Crusher
called him
was warm
Data.
and nice.
It's just such a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Called him Data. What's the difference? One is my name. The other is not.
She's just so dismissive of him.
Oh yeah.
And to kind of bring it around, I think that the android character on the Orville is 100 times the android that Data ever was on Next Generation.
I need you to calm down with that kind of talk. You're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
crazy.
Data's one of my
I understand
favorite
that.
characters.
I understand that, but I feel like
Uh-oh. Everybody just froze. I'm the only one not frozen.
side,
Oh,
do you
okay.
have emotions or do you not have emotions? Did
Are you-
Union?
Question: are you caught up with Orville? Are you current with Orville?
Oh, I
Okay.
know he becomes the Borg. I get it. I know
Calm.
that.
Spoilers.
But I just think that as a character, as it's written, they were able to see the entirety of what Star Trek was and see all the problems and all the loops that they wrote themselves into. And Seth was able to say, you know what, I'm going to be more careful and write it more carefully and purposefully and say,
Sure.
this guy, or what was his name? What is his name? On the Orville?
The Doctor?
No, the android guy. Oh God, I
Oh,
can't
gosh.
can't
It's been so
remember his
long
name.
because it's been so long since the show
I-
was on.
But he's a fantastically written character, and
I thought it was clever of them to do the relationship arc with the doctor. I thought that was
Yeah,
like
Oh,
she
yeah.
I
was
was okay
having.
with that. I was okay with that.
We are very woke in the future. Yes.
We are.
We
Super
can get it with androids and no problem.
That's something from The Last Skywalker that was completely unnecessary. When the very large-nosed woman gives a big old smacker
Yeah.
to the other woman on the planet
Mhm.
after it's all over and everybody's happy.
Oh, stop!
They pulled that at the end of Picard also, which is another thing we should probably get to.
I just think it was unnecessary.
Women can like each other.
Yes.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree that they can.
But
I'm
you feel
for
like
it.
they hit us over the head with it.
Yes, I
Yes.
feel like it was unnecessary. To be honest, to be fair, I absolutely did not like the kiss between Ren and Rey. I thought that was so dumb.
I thought that was an interesting choice, but they've been through a lot together
Right.
and they share a connection.
That may have
so.
been an emotional thing more than an attraction thing. I don't know. Or a kiss
Agreed.
goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay, then you
I
kiss
agree.
her on the forehead. That's what you do.
That actually could have been a
Because-
sweeter moment. You're right.
Because a mouth kiss implies. Thank you, Todd.
A mouth kiss implies.
A mouth kiss implies romance and passion.
Apparently, you never watched Family Feud in the '70s with Richard Dawson.
That was all passion. You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth.
You shut your mouth.
He loved every single one of those women.
I got all the way through. Did we talk about this last week? Getting all the way through Picard. I don't know if you had or not, Greg.
I have.
Yes, you have,
Yeah.
and Todd, you have as well.
I have to, yeah.
I always
And
thought.
here is my entire Picard review.
Yes.
Eh.
you could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Which means you'll take or leave a second season of it.
I won't watch the second season.
My wife said the same thing, but I gotta stick with it.
He won't watch a second season because he canceled his subscription.
That's right, actually. CBS Interactive.
Well, I mean, I just don't see any more. I don't see any reason to continue watching it. Picard died.
But Discovery's so good.
Yes.
Discovery is good, and I still enjoy the production value of it. I think it's amazing.
And I suppose with all the time traveling that they do on Discovery, they could always travel upon Picard somewhere, and everybody could geek out on that.
My God,
Wait, they do time travel in Discovery?
There's
like
there's
the
a little
last
time
the
traveling.
last two
No, they
episodes.
just went ahead 9 months. That's all they did.
The last two episodes of Discovery are probably the best TV, not just genre TV, but
Yeah.
probably 2 hours of TV I've ever
You
Ever
gotta,
seen.
you gotta give it
Ever-
another
ever
try,
seen.
Greg. I know.
Of the second season, you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because
The
I
wrap-up-
did.
For season 2 is so incredible. And
I
the
do
the
have more time on my subscription. It didn't just shut off immediately.
I
There we
see.
go.
I'll just skip the one episode where I was so angry at, and then keep on going.
Yes. You can always watch the previously on Discovery, and you'll be fine. You'll be all caught up.
I
Yes.
can watch the Cage.
Greg, just do it for me, man.
See, unfortunately, I don't know what the Cage is because I never really watched the original series.
Well, actually, that's okay because at the very beginning of this episode, which for a second I thought I'd clicked the wrong button on the episode I was watching, they showed clips from the original pilot from Star Trek with
Oh, cool.
Captain Pike to refresh everybody's memory that this is the planet we're about to go visit.
That's
Like
pretty
in-
cool. Okay.
Oh
In
man.
one fell swoop, they made
Yeah,
it so canon.
and Anna's saying in one fell swoop, they shut all the haters up by, people who were like, this isn't canon. It's just like previously on Star Trek, and then it shows you stuff from the 60s. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Even though there's a totally different actor playing Pike, they're like, screw it, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah. They did not
Oh,
care.
and he's perfect.
At least
Oh,
he
he's so
looks
good.
like the original actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Anson Mount is great.
Yeah.
You'd never think he could do a good job after seeing him in the Inhumans series that was
Yeah.
garbage.
I-
But man, he's great as Pike.
yeah,
He's
is.
a great. There's talk of him getting his own show too, which I would be super
I
on
heard that
board.
as well, which would just be the years leading up to
I think that
The
would be a
Enterprise.
terrific idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not? You get him and Spock on the Enterprise. Yeah, you get all the recast everything.
And just answer me this one spoiler: do they ever fucking find Spock?
Oh yeah, you're just a few episodes away.
Okay, good. All right.
Because
Never do.
remember, this
Hey!
is 10.
Hey, you.
This is 10 years before the original series, so they get
Time
Spock.
crystals.
Time
There's your
crystals.
spoiler. Time
no,
crystals.
no. I imagine that Spock is eventually found because the TOS has to happen. What I'm
Yes.
saying is, in this series,
Yes.
do they ever finally get him? Because
And everything is
that's
Eddie
explained, and
That
it
was-
all makes sense.
that was
They
part
just-
of my frustration. Was
They
that
just took too long to get to it, I guess is what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yes.
But he's got a very fetching beard.
Oh, yes.
like
Oh,
evil Spock,
No, just full
No.
beard.
this
He's
full
just
beard.
Mountain
And I
Man
know it
Spock?
sounds weird, but it works. He's super hot.
Yes.
Oh, super hot Mountain Man Spock. Okay,
Super hot.
Hot and fatty.
that's what
It's
I'm.
super-
That's what I'm hoping to do here. I'm trying to get trying to
Well,
work on the stash.
we have hit the 1 hour and 30-minute
We should
mark.
wrap it up.
If
then.
you would like to wrap this up, and then once again, if you're available, we keep doing this on Fridays as long as you guys are available. I know you've just come off of a 5-day week of 25% capacity, Todd, but if you're up to doing this again at
Yes.
8 o'clock,
Super busy.
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
figure out my
Or-
sound situation.
or perhaps, Todd, I'll ask you, is there a better time that you would like to do this? Do you want to do it during store hours with your phone on a tripod, and you can still deal
Oh,
with
that would be
customers?
kind of cool.
I would love to do that. However, I would hate to be in the middle of this and have to run off and help the one person that will inevitably come in when we're online.
But what I would like is for Todd to have his iPhone on a tripod by the register, and then talk with us, and then customer, and then he walks off, and
Right.
see what's going on at the store. But no, if you want to
Right,
pick
sure.
the time, you want to do it at 8 o'clock again next week, we can absolutely do that.
Let's do it.
And I think in the future we will do this on the Gods and Monsters Facebook page rather than our YouTube page again, because we've got a couple of hundred subscribers on YouTube, but you've got
And
thousands
how many
of
are
them on
watching?
Facebook. I can't tell right now. Do you see it anywhere?
See what?
How many people are watching right now? I don't
7.
know where that is.
Just 7.
0 people.
Yes, and about 30 minutes ago, Samuel probably said Isaac because that's Isaac's name.
That's
the
true.
android's name on
That
the
is his
orbital.
name. Yes.
Oh, okay. The Android.
I never
from-
would have remembered that.
No, I wouldn't, because the show has only been on. It was like, when was the last time that was on? Really, it was like over a year ago.
It's been about a year since.
Aaron Burnhill says he wants to see a show with all the red shirts from Star Trek. So it's like all the all the first years who are like bunking together. Like this
That'd
is
be a
their
really
story.
short series.
Like a Lower Decks, like a red shirt
Yeah.
Lower Decks. Yes.
Like
There
the
They are
Titanic where
making
the
the lower decks.
bottom decks. Yeah.
There was, I think that there was talk of a show
Called
I
Lower
think
Decks.
I think it was called Lower Decks, right?
That
Really?
might still be something that they're doing. I don't know.
That sounds like really interesting. Like it could be all about like the military
Midshipmen, like all the like the lower
Remember
the
that-
crew that's not on the bridge.
the camaraderie of the
Yeah,
first year.
They did a great episode
Yeah.
of that on Next Generation, which was called Lower Decks, where you got to see all of them,
Oh yeah.
And then
That was Next Generation. I
Yeah, it was
don't
a Next
remember that.
Generation episode. The episode was called Lower Decks, I believe, and it was
It was
about
one of the
the
later
crew.
seasons, I think, right?
Yeah, it was with one of the crew, and then what was the alien race that had the thing around their nose? Not Kardashian, but one. She was.
Bajoran?
Was it Bajoran? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Bajoran.
Well,
Bajoran had
one
the
of
thing
them.
on the-
One of them was asked to go undercover, and she was one of the Lower Decks personnel. And then she died at the end of the episode on a mission, and then they had to continue with their jobs after that. It's one of the better episodes from Next Generation.
Oh, by the way, I'm a
Bajoran,
little
thank you,
upset with-
Bajoran. Thank you, Samuel.
I think Todd and I both said Bajoran.
Yes,
But
you
anyway,
did. You did.
I'm a little upset at the Orville because they took that gorgeous creature of a security officer girl out of there, and they put in some
Oh
other.
yeah, she actually left on her own. She wanted to go off and pursue other things. Apparently, she
What
came
a
back
bitch!
for
'Cause
like
she was gorgeous
I know.
and funny and cute,
and yeah, she could
yes.
knock a door down, and yeah, absolutely, I loved her.
she could open that jar of pickles.
Yep, exactly. Yes. Do you believe that on the Orville, Star Trek is in that universe? Because like when you see a Kermit the Frog on the captain's desk, you start to think, oh, they live in our world.
No,
You know,
it's different universes.
I'd love for them to
There's
just
no
start
way.
making Star Trek references, because they refer back to things now which are weird because they're hundreds
Well,
of years
yeah,
old.
they've made references to movies and stuff and TV shows
Yes.
from our time. Like they've been watching shows or movies. I think
Yeah.
in universe. So
that is, honestly, Todd, I don't mean to stop you here, but that is one thing I would love to have seen either in the Orville or in Discovery / Picard is when they are listening to either music or talking about a movie that they enjoy or something like that. I almost wish one time they would do it where it was just like something so bizarre and nutty and crazy. It was not something from our time. Like, I don't think somebody 400 years in the future are going to look back at something from the White Stripes and think,
Sure.
yeah, that's my favorite song. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Come on.
Oh, right as we're signing off, it looks like Alita has signed in from Talon and Alita. I believe there are a couple of geeks.
Hey,
I see her
couple
just
of
popping
geeks.
on and says she has just joined us. However, we're just about to wrap things up. But as I was saying
you can
earlier,
rewatch it.
I think we're going to start trying to do this every Friday at 8 p.m. if Todd is available. And who knows, after a long day, if he doesn't want to do this, he could always just sit at home and watch Greg and I struggle through it, or he can join us.
True story.
And if you don't want to do it, Todd, Art and I will talk because we can talk.
That's right. We got lots of
Stuff.
other things we didn't even get to that we wanted to talk about. But for now, I'd like to say thank you for Todd for joining us, and I hope the store continues with some success, perhaps a little bit more success next week as your 25% capacity continues to grow a little. And
Please go to Gods and
Yes,
Monsters.
please go to Gods and Monsters. If you
Help
look
them out because they're a great place.
If you look at the bottom of the screen right now, the phone number is down there, 407-270-6273. Call ahead if you want. If you want to have something brought out to the curb, he can run it out to you. And if not, I'm sure you are welcome to come into the store. Is that right, Todd?
Yeah, absolutely. Bring a mask.
And bring a damn
Why are all
mask.
these people coming in without masks?
What's
Hey,
wrong
Todd.
with you people?
Real quickly, before we go, do you
Yes.
happen to have in your pop character arsenal, do you happen to have a Jane Cobb? Because, and this is why, 4 years ago, I bought a Jane Cobb pop character to hang from the back of my little Miata because I'm
Okay.
Oh, I remember that.
and it finally fell off after 4 years.
Oh no.
So I need to replace it. So I was wondering if you can, next time you're there, can you check and see if you have a Jane Cobb pop figure?
I don't think I do, but I'll certainly keep an eye open for one.
Thank you very much, because I would love
Yeah.
to replace it.
Okay.
Well, very good. Thank you all for watching tonight, and tell your friends that this is the place to be on Friday nights at 8 p.m.
Samuel just he's the hero
of Canton.
Hero of Canton. That's who Jane Cobb is. Yes, the hero of Canton.
It was hanging on the back of his Miata, just like rocking back and forth from the
Yeah.
back of it. Yes,
For years.
for many years.
And then
yeah.
one day his bottom half fell off, and
Oh.
then like 6 months after that, his whole body.
Was it ever dragging on the ground, or just like it was
I'm
feet just touching
Well,
the
I
ground?
lowered the car since then,
Well,
so
yeah.
probably.
This is a horrible story.
It was like the
Right.
dog and Chris.
Well-
It was the dog from National Lampoon's Vacation. He was on the back bumper. He held on for a little while. Tough little guy.
He did. He is a tough guy.
Imogene Coca?
This is Vera, my very favorite gun.
Oh, okay. How come no one, all these families doing all these videos and silly things and music videos, how is not some family parked into the parking lot of Magic Kingdom and run in slow motion to Chariots of Fire, only to get to the front of Disney to see that the park is closed?
Sorry, folks.
Exactly.
The Mouse House Bunch should have told you.
How has no one not done that yet? 'Cause the
Art,
park
that
is
sounds like
closed.
something you should do with your girls.
All right, I'm going to get
It's-
on that. We're going to have to get through security, but we're going to get on that. Yes.
Get on that.
Do it.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's Art and Greg and Todd here from Gods and Monsters. We will speak to you guys again
there's
next
Anna.
week. And Anna
Hey,
off in the
there's
distance,
Anna.
shouting out comments once in a while.
Yeah,
And,
she's been here the whole time.
right. Hopefully she's been watching us on Facebook to bring our numbers up.
No, she's playing Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Silent right now, yes.
She's selling turnips
Animal
for
Crossings.
bells.
All
I
right.
did that
Thank you
this
guys
morning.
for
Thank you.
watching. We will see you all again next week. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, guys.